Sleep is a mood stabilizer. Your baby needs you to be in that wonderful, connected, attuned state more than they need you to co-sleep. So if you're like reading a lot of these kinds of things, social media posts are designed to grab your attention and to scare you and to make you think that like you're gonna get all the solutions to your parenting in one 15-second reel. You're not. Controversial opinion here. Let's talk about sleep training, post-traumatic parenting, dorsovagal shutdown, and rupture and repair. Hi, I'm Dr. Robin Koslowitz, YouTube's post-traumatic parenting expert. Today we're going to talk about, as a post-traumatic parent, as a cycle breaker, should you or should you not sleep train your baby? And what should you do if your baby doesn't sleep? But first, if you're a post-traumatic parent, if you're trying to go from cycle breaker to cycle maker, and you know what you want to not do, but you don't know what you actually want to do with your kids, click subscribe below so you never miss another episode. These are some of the most important videos you will ever watch. I'm a post-traumatic parent myself, and I know that this is the information I would have needed when I first became a parent. So there's a lot of stuff on social media, a lot of information and a lot of misinformation about sleep training. And the idea is sleep training abusive? Does it interfere with attachment? Putting a baby to sleep, do you need your baby to be worn 24/7? Do you need your baby to co-sleep in order to foster attachment? And here's where this becomes very important. If you're a post-traumatic parent, you likely have two things. Number one, you don't want to traumatize your child. Perhaps you were traumatized in your childhood and you want to break that cycle. Or maybe it's recent events in your life that traumatized you, but you don't want your baby to experience that same level of overwhelm, traumatic sense of being alone with something too big. And you're afraid that sleep training might do that to them. And you're probably struggling with something else as well. Most post-traumatic parents, especially mothers, really struggle with sleep. We know that PTSD and sleep, one of the criteria for PTSD is disturbances in sleep. PTSD causes hypervigilance, hyperarousal. It makes it really hard for us to turn off our brains and go to sleep. We have something else really working against us, which is we're biologically programmed to sleep lighter when we have a new baby or a toddler in the house, because our brain has the imperative of keep the little human alive. And so if you're already hypervigilant and you already struggle with sleep, and now your brain is like, keep the little human alive. And there's so many thoughts in your head about keep the little human alive. Everything from, I hope my boss doesn't fire me because I had to leave early because my kid got sick, and then we're not gonna have money, and then we're gonna lose our house, and then we're gonna be homeless, and then my baby's gonna die, to, will my baby choke? Is my baby okay? Is my baby okay at daycare? Is my baby okay right now in their crib? All of those thoughts can intrude, and when your brain is already used to having a lot of intrusive thoughts, then these kind of thoughts just become the next version of intrusive thoughts that come in. So then we have the other side, which is, if your baby doesn't sleep and you don't sleep, this is a big problem, because sleep is the ultimate mood stabilizer. And sleep is actually what helps us keep our PTSD and our triggers under control. Our hyperarousal is less, our overreactivity is less when we get enough sleep. In fact, if you think about, polyvagal theory, and you think about this idea that you want to be in that ventral vagal state, you want to be in that state where you're available to be an attachment figure to your child. They're going to attune to you, you're going to attune to them. There's going to be this wonderful bond. If you don't have enough sleep and you have PTSD, you're going to go into dorsal vagal shutdown, and then you're not going to be an attachment figure at all. So I think when people say things like sleep training is abusive, the question is, sleep training may or may not be ideal, but certainly going into dorsal vagal shutdown where you're immobilized, where you can't connect at all, where you're completely unmotivated and apathetic, that's worse, right? So what I like to think about is not sleep training, but sleep teaching. There is a big difference. Sleep training, the real proponents of sleep training, they talk about like that cry it out method. Just let your baby cry. And eventually they'll learn. I've even seen some really bad ideas, like, mom, take a shot of whiskey, go as far away in the house as you can from your baby and drink the whiskey till you feel sleepy, and then let the baby scream, and in a couple of nights they're gonna learn to sleep. You don't do that, okay? That is a bad idea. That sounds like, I don't know, that sounds like the advice of the patriarchy, like some, 70-year-old guy who never had a baby, just giving you this very dismissive advice. Don't do that. Sleep teaching means you put the baby in. You let the baby, if the baby fusses a bit, as an attuned mom, you're gonna know the difference between fussing, which just sounds like, like little sounds of like, if you're nearby, come pick me up, but I'm not in distress right now. And you might even let the baby cry a little. And you see if the wailing is increasing in volume or going down. Because there are some babies, when they have very immature nervous systems, their nervous system needs to learn to sort of like, go up and down. Arousal needs to go up and down. You will know the difference between a fuss, like, I kind of wish you'd pick me up right now, and full-blown distressed wailing. If it's full-blown distressed wailing, by all means, go in, see what's going on, right? The baby might have hurt themselves. I had a friend whose baby who was trying the cry it out method, and this is why I'm not a believer in that level of cry it out method. And she let her baby cry because that's what the doctor said. And the baby was screaming and screaming, and she said, no, something's wrong. I am going to check on my baby. Turns out there was a little piece of thread from the pajamas that had wrapped around the baby's toe, and the baby was in pain. So, that could have been bad. That could have interfered with circulation. It's a good thing. She trusted her own instincts, and she went in and checked because she's like, no, this is a level of distress that I'm not okay with. Now, a lot of post-traumatic parents, we don't necessarily have those instincts, but very quickly, and we doubt our instincts, but very quickly you're gonna learn the difference between fussing and true distress. If it's true distress, by all means go in, pick up your baby, soothe your baby, reassure yourself your baby's okay, reassure your baby the baby's okay. If it's time for a feeding, feed the baby, change the baby, whatever needs to happen. And then again, you go away, and if the baby is fussing, they can fuss for a bit. You don't have to swoop in the minute the baby is fussing. There's a lot of resources, so I am not gonna reinvent the wheel here. There's a lot of resources online. Look for sleep teachers who will teach you about circadian rhythms and how to notice babies' circadian rhythms, because babies can be somewhat predictable in how often they need to sleep. And if you catch them at their sleepy moments and you put them to bed when their circadian rhythm has a very high, what we call sleep demand, the body really wants sleep, and you put them in, then they'll fuss for a little bit and then they'll drift off. And then you can drift off knowing that your baby's sleeping. A lot of post-traumatic parents get confused because from the concept of co-sleeping that was really proposed by Dr. William Sears in attachment parenting, they have this thought that if you don't co-sleep, you are not creating good attachment. That is simply not true. Because if you have insomnia, if you are hyper alert, if you are hyper aroused, if you get flashbacks, sleeping with your baby, I tried it. I tried to co-sleep. I think for 3 nights in a row, I did not sleep at all. I'm lucky I didn't have a psychotic break. I can't sleep with a baby in my bed. I'm scared I'll roll over and crush them. I'm scared that I'm scared. I just can't sleep. Every sound wakes me up. I'm the world's lightest sleeper. My kids joke that if you want to wake up mommy, drop a feather in the basement. I sleep 3 floors away from the basement. She'll wake right up. I'm a very light sleeper. Having a baby in the bed with me is too terrifying for me. So, and I need my sleep. So for me, sleep teaching, not sleep training, worked well. Sleep teaching for me also involves, for me and my kids, because a lot of my kids are genetically mine, and they're light sleepers like me. Some of this is my PTSD, some of this is genetic programming. I like to use noise machines. I like to use put something in the crib that smells like mom. Like a lot of my babies slept with a t-shirt of mine. I would like rotate t-shirts, and then I would take off a t-shirt, a soft, yummy t-shirt that I wore a lot, like for pajamas, put it in the baby's crib. So when the baby's sleeping, the baby smells mom, obviously in a way that it isn't a choking hazard or anything like that, but that the baby can like smell mom. I literally sometimes use t-shirts of mine almost as crib covers, so that the baby could like over the mattress, so the baby could smell mom, because that is soothing. And doing things like that teaches the baby, like, mommy's nearby, it's okay, I can drift off to sleep. This room every night has the same predictable sound, the same predictable smell. It smells like my mom is right nearby. I know that if I'm in true distress, my mom is coming. And that is how we teach a baby to sleep. So do not worry that you're in some way perpetuating a cycle when if you are doing some form of sleep teaching with your baby. If you're a post-traumatic parent, and if you don't sleep teach your baby, you are not going to be the kind of calm, present parent that you want to be, then by all means, teach your baby how to sleep. And you can learn how to do this, because remember, sleep is a mood stabilizer. Your baby needs you to be in that wonderful, connected, attuned state more than they need you to co-sleep. So if you're like reading a lot of these kinds of things, social media posts are designed to grab your attention and to scare you and to make you think that like you're going to get all the solutions to your parenting in one 15-second reel. You're not. Sleep teaching is not abuse. Full on cry it out, yeah, that can border on abusive. Full on co-sleeping, if you cannot sleep with a baby in the bed, unless you're going to co-sleep and then your parenting partner is taking over and then you're going to get some deep sleep, I would not recommend that. Something that I did when I had twins was, I am a very light sleeper. My husband definitely needs to sleep. So what we used to do is we slept in separate rooms. I slept with the twins in one room, and then they would wake up in the night, because it was like one needed to nurse, then the other one needed to. There was never like, they never were synchronous. I knew how to feed them together, but they almost never had synchronous schedules, at least not at the beginning. They synced up at about 3 months. So I was basically nursing and then dozing off a little and then nursing someone else and then changing someone else's diaper. So what we did was I slept in a separate room. I did what I needed to do all night. I'm a very light sleeper anyway. Then early in the morning, my husband would wake up. We're talking like, 5 or 6 a.m. He would wake up. He would switch off with me, go to the room with the twins. I would go into our bedroom. I would go to sleep and get a few solid hours of uninterrupted sleep. And that way the twins had adults around all the time. I got my uninterrupted sleep. My husband got his uninterrupted sleep. We were both able to be present, engaged, attuned parents, because we both had sleep. Do not believe that as a parent you have to sacrifice all your needs and you have to never think about yourself in order to break cycles. It's simply not true. We're biological creatures, and one of the things biological creatures do need is rest. If you enjoyed this video and if you feel like I've earned your subscribe, please do us a favor. Subscribe below so you never miss another episode. Check out the Post-Traumatic Parenting podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. It's completely different content from this YouTube channel. You can also find the Post-Traumatic Parenting community on Instagram at Dr. Kozlowitz Psychology. I would really love to know what you think about this video, so please comment below and we can continue having a conversation about this. Till next time.